Benedict sir, are you there, sir? Benedict sir? Dr. Ranjini Devi, warm welcome. Dr. Asha, warm welcome to you again.
Good evening,
Dr.
sir. Good evening, Jojo sir.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Vasif sir from Jordan, welcome, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Ranjini Chechi.
Good
Eagerly
evening,
waiting to hear you.
Benedict sir, shall we begin, sir? Soumya, would you please call Benedict sir, Soumya? Sanila, please call Benedict sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. Good evening from Trivandrum. Welcome to the 53rd Insight Index program. And we see a handful of eminent people today. Welcome to everyone. And this Insight Index program is a very important program organized by the research wing of Martha Training College. And I am Dr. Joju John, the research coordinator. Probably this would be my last Insight Index program as a coordinator. But I will be continuing my active participation in Insight Index program. And this would be my last program coordinator of the program. I would like to welcome everyone to this program. Today's program is simply unique because a noble human being, an outstanding teacher educator, a stunning person, very humane person, very philanthropic person, Dr. Ranjini Devi is here with us to talk to us and inspire us today. That is one reason. The reason number two is really important. The topic of discussion today is human rights and human rights education. Perhaps the hottest issue in the annals of history and even today, every day this topic is highly significant. Human rights violation and human rights education. Warm welcome everyone. And we would like to wish you a belated Christmas wishes and prayers. May the peace of the Almighty be with us all through 2022 and the years to come as well. We would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and an outstanding new year. Let's go forward, sharing novel ideas in all the platforms inside Indepth 2. It will be an honor, a great honor, if you share the poster and the link to your colleagues, students, and your fraternity. They would also join and gain brilliant, and they would also benefit a lot. Thank you very much. Now, over to you, research scholar. Hello, Ranjini. Please, could you please mute your mic, Ranjini, for some time? Please. Okay, thank you. Hello, Sanila. Somebody from the research wing, you can begin. Benedict sir, have you joined, sir?
Sorry, Jojo sir. I was talking to Benedict sir. Sir told that there is some network issue, so I will join soon. Sorry for the delay, sir.
No problem. Welcome, everyone. Over to you, research scholars. Please commence the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to our 53rd talk of Insight Indepth Invited Talk series hosted by the research wing of the prestigious Martha Training College. Thank you all for being here. Myself, Sanila Manoj, research scholar of Martha Training College. Prayer is the link that connects us with God. Let us begin our meeting by seeking the blessings of Almighty with a prayer. Please be paused for a while.
സ്നേഹസ്വരൂപനേ കരുണാമയനേ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ പോരിരുൾ മാറ്റി നേർവഴി കാട്ടി നിത്യചൈതന്യമേ നീ നിറയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ സ്നേഹസ്വരൂപനേ കരുണാമയനേ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ മനസ്സിനുണർവേകി നിത്യവും നാദമക്കളാം ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ മനസ്സിനുണർവേകി നിത്യവും നാദമക്കളാം ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ അറിവിൻ നാദവും നാളവുമായി ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ സ്നേഹസ്വരൂപനേ കരുണാമയനേ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ എന്നെന്നും ഞങ്ങളിൽ നീ നിറയൂ
Thank you, everyone. Let me share our great happiness with all of you. Our research coordinator, Dr. Joju Jones sir, has been selected for the CTEF Award of Most Inspiring Teacher Educator Award 2021. Congratulations, dear Joju sir, for the most deserved recognition. Thank you so much for being with our journey by inspiring, guiding, and motivating all of us. May God bless you with many more heights. Once more, congratulations and thank you, dear Joju sir. Before we start, let me humbly remind you some important. Please mute your audio unless you are asked to unmute to avoid any distraction. If you have any queries related to the meeting, please type them in the chat box. After the talk by our resource person, there will be a deliberation time. At that time, you can clarify your queries. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded in the MTTC Nalanjara official YouTube channel, and the link will be shared through the Insight Indepth WhatsApp groups. Feedback form will be shared through the chat box only at the end of the meeting. Only those who submit the feedback form will receive the e-certificate through the email ID which you enter in the feedback form. I humbly request everyone to kindly follow the instructions for the smooth conduct of our meeting. Kindly cooperate. Thank you. May I now invite Mrs. Sinimol, Research Scholar, Martha Training College, for the welcome address. Over to you, Sinimol, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Good evening, one and all. Respected principal, teachers, and dear participants. Today, Martha Training College Research Wing is conducting Insight in the Talk Series 53rd on the topic Learning Through Human Rights. Human rights education is the learning process that builds up the required knowledge, value, and proficiency of human rights, of which the objective is to develop an acceptable human rights culture. Learning through human rights empower people to create skills and behavior that would promote dignity and equality within the community, society, and all over the world. My duty is to welcome each and everyone gathered here. First of all, I welcome respected principal, Dr. K.Y. Benedict sir, who is the backbone of this institution, to this talk series. Welcome, sir. Next, I welcome the resource person, Dr. Ranjini Devi. Yes, ma'am. Assistant Professor, NSS Training College, Pandalam, to this talk series. Welcome, teacher. I welcome our resource training coordinator, Dr. Joshi sir, who is a motivation trainer. Welcome, sir. Next, I welcome research guides and teachers to this talk series. They are the person who pave the way for the students to their success in the field of research as well as every walks of life. Welcome, teachers. Last but not least, I welcome the research scholars and all other participants to this talk series. I once again welcome you all to this session. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Sinimol ma'am. Our topic for today is Learning Through Human Rights by Dr. Ranjini Devi, Assistant Professor, NSS Training College, Pandalam. Let us know more about our resource person. For introducing our guest of honor, let me invite Mrs. Tara Rajendran, Research Scholar, Mathifulus Training College. Over to you, Tara ma'am.
Am I audible, Sanila?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. Once again, a hearty warm welcome to one and all. I'm glad to be a partaker in today's session, and I'm conferred with the duty to introduce our resource person. Are my slides visible?
Yes, ma'am, slides is at opening. Yes, please.
Our today's resource person, our guest of honor for today's Insight In-Depth. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ranjini Devi S, Assistant Professor, NSS Training College, Pandalam. Ma'am is a rank holder in MSc Chemistry. She's a first rank holder in MEd and holds a UGC NET JRF and has done PhD in Human Rights Education. And her achievements cannot be just coordinated in slides, but yet for the sake of presentation, she has 17 years in different college experience in different colleges of teacher education, was a full-time research scholar under UGC Research Fellowship, a resource person for state and national level seminars and webinars, a panelist in national seminars and conferences, invited talks in different colleges. She has an array of publications. To list out some are published 20 articles in national and international journals, published 20 papers in national and international conference proceedings, and she has published chapters in 3 edited books, has published a book, Human Rights Education for Prospective Teachers. So this is a short profile of our ma'am, and thank you, ma'am, for sharing and spending your time, valuable time with us. Thank you, ma'am, for having joined us today, for sharing your thoughts and views. A warm welcome, ma'am, and a very delighted and advanced Happy New Year wishes too, ma'am.
Thank you, Tara. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Tara ma'am. We are fortunate to have such a great personality as our resource person who will definitely enlighten our knowledge about learning through human rights. Let us enjoy our today's talk. With a great gratitude, let me invite Dr. Ranjini Devi ma'am for expressing her valuable outlook on learning through human rights. The platform is yours, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. A very happy good evening to all. I hope I'm audible.
Perfect.
Okay, I would like to have one request. If there is any problem in my audio, whether it is breaking or not, please let me know, because I have one more connection to change. And if the time limit exceeds, please let me know also. Okay, so before the presentation, I would like to thank the organizers of the program, and especially my very dear friend Joju, for inviting me for this session. Okay, let me share my PPT first. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank
Ma'am,
you.
if possible, please make it in the slideshow mode, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, 1 second. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you.
So, before going to our presentation, I would like to make something very clear. For today's session, actually, we are not going to discuss about human rights. That means those articles, the aspects related to law or constitution. All these things will not be discussed because I'm going to share some of my concerns with those great persons here, those research scholars, research guides, persons, and delegates from outside Kerala and outside India. So, my topic is titled Learning Through Human Rights. If we go through the definition, learning through, what is meant by learning through, then you might be having a very uh, splendid definition. While we are adopting this concept, learning through human rights, we will be respecting both the learner and the teacher and the whole teaching atmosphere. A respect towards the rights of all. That is actually the terminology. And you might have seen this picture. I adopt this picture because I felt that this is something like we are protecting human rights. I hope you agree with me. No, all these hands. It makes me realize that human rights, they are something which is to be cherished, something which ought to be protected throughout one's life. That's why I selected that picture, because I always felt that it is to be cherished. So, I would like to ask a question. I don't know whether you can interact with me, or if it's not possible, let's think about an answer only. You don't have to answer me. The question is, do you think we experience human rights on a daily basis? Because whenever we think about human rights, whenever we talk about human rights, we are actually thinking more about violations, thinking more about constitution, thinking more about declarations and conventions. So do you think human rights exist in only those documents, in only those issues? So do you believe we experience human rights on a daily basis? I don't know whether your answer is yes or no. If your answer is yes, then I will be having one more question for you. The next question will be like this. If you're experiencing, where do you experience human rights in our daily life? Where do you experience? Is there a particular place where we can experience human rights? Have you ever thought about this? If we are thinking in that particular way, we can see that we experience our human rights every day. Sometimes we can say that it can be in every second, every minute, every hour, because we worship, we go to temple, we go to church, mosque, or sometimes we say we are atheists, we don't want to worship. Nobody is forcing you to do all these things. So why we are capable of doing this? Because we are enjoying the rights which we call human rights. And we always criticize different policies made by governments and other authorities. Nobody forces us to withdraw our opinions, because we have the right to expression. So human rights is not a very simple definition. It's a very comprehensive concept which embraces different categories of rights like social rights, economic rights, civil rights, or political or cultural, whatever we call, whatever we name, all these cultures together form human rights. But what's the significance? All these types of rights have only one aim or the goal. all these should be used or all these rights are essential for human beings to lead a life of dignity. We all knew that whenever we talk about rights, we say right to life. But there is a small misconception there. All those articles, documents, conventions, everything says about life, right to life. But actually, it does not mean only right to life. It's actually the life of dignity. A human being should not lead a life. A human being should lead a life of dignity. A dignified human being, a dignified human life. That is the purpose of all those human rights. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I think all those who present here are aware why we celebrate International Human Rights Day on December 10th. Is to celebrate the importance of the UDHR or Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Though lots of legal treaties came after UDHR, since everybody believes that this is actually the most precious given to human being because of its moral obligation. There is no legal obligation for UDHR. So the most highlighted feature can be summarized like this. That is, a human being should not live, but live with a dignity. And he or she should develop fully and use one's human qualities like intelligence, his talents, or conscience. He should satisfy his physical needs, mental, social, and spiritual needs. So all these things will be leading the person to a life of dignity. So human rights does not mean there are certain rights, like we list out, right to life, right to justice, right to liberty. But its essence is not like that. Its essence is it helps us to live a proper life of dignity where we can develop fully according to our physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. Just look at this picture. Look at those children. What do you feel? Do you think they are leading a life of dignity? Are they developing according to their needs, their spiritual needs, their emotional needs? Do you think? So where is the life of dignity for these children? This is the biggest question in the field of human rights. UDHR has been declared in 1948 and we are here in 2021, no, it's actually 2022. But still, we can see all those things. These types of things may not be present in a city area or in a highly educated area. But we can see, we can sensitize ourselves when we go to more rural areas. So, then one more set of questions for audience. Because I would like you to think, not just blindly follow what I say, just think. Even though you are not in a position to interact with me, you can think and get an answer. Why I'm giving these questions? It's because of certain concerns expressed by our generation about the so-called new gen, the future generation. We say that they are completely selfish, they are not tolerating others, they are not good enough in socializing. But I'm not saying that all new generation kids are like that. Don't generalize. But majority feels like that of this generation. They are really concerned about our future generation. So that's why I'm asking these questions. Do you believe that future generation kids will be aware of their rights and responsibilities as a global citizen? Do they know how to empathize with our fellow human beings? Do they respect other person's rights? Or do you think they will be able to defend their own rights and rights of others in future? Certain questions of concern, you can say that. I hope all of you might have thought about an answer. All these questions come into the picture because we feel that they lack certain special characteristic features or qualities in our future generation. For example, respect for others or non-discrimination, I hope you all know what is meant by non-discrimination. Discriminating a fellow human being on some trivial basis, unreasonable biases based on unreasonable biases like caste, social status, all those things. Tolerance, and the most important thing, responsibility. We should be responsible for our actions. So now another question might have arisen in your mind. Now it's showing some kind of a big question mark above your head. So learning human rights or making one familiarized with the concept of human rights can change these things. Maybe doubtful. Let's discuss. Is it possible or not? Respect. It's like a give and take. No. If we expect the other person to respect us, we have to respect them in return. So we always feel that because we are human beings, we do have human rights. We always appreciate them. We are having that right. We are having this right. But we have to understand that these rights will only work when there's a mutual respect between citizens, persons. There's a mutual respect in interpersonal relationship, so that we can place ourselves in another person's shoe, another person's place. So, if we are going to understand the essence of human rights, you know what those rights meant to us, if the complete essence is there, we will definitely be ready to respect others. Then comes discrimination. The concept of discrimination comes because we are in a diverse world. Everyone is different. No? In our country, language different, religion different, caste different, color different, status different, lots of things different. So, but what do you mean by human rights? You say that one is provided with the human rights. Is it right? Somebody is giving you human rights. Somebody is giving you human rights as a gift. No, it's entirely, completely wrong statement, because it is something associated with our birth. If we claim ourselves to be a human, there is the right with him or her or the child. So, the understanding of that thing only will help the people to understand about discrimination. There is no need to discriminate among our friends, our neighbors, our country people, or the global citizens based on some unreasonable prejudices. Then, for the present century, for the modern world, one of the most important qualities that we expect, that we hope our generation and the next generation will be having tolerance. Because when we go through the different news articles in TV, in newspapers, lots of things happen because of lack of tolerance. Because every individual wants to live and lead a life of peace. Nobody wants to live in a chaos, in disturbance. So, if we want to lead a life of peace, we should be understanding, patient. We should be accepting. We should be objective in our attitude and judgments. So, the awareness of human rights actually trains an individual to be tolerant towards others. Because if we have to deal with our rights and the rights of others, what we need is we have to accept others without giving any indication of discrimination. We have to be tolerant. Then responsibility. Most of the older generation say that the new gen kids are irresponsible. I don't know you agree with me or not. Here also I am not going to generalize all new generation kids are responsible, but it's actually a statement made by most of older generation people. So responsibility means we should be accountable. We should be responsible for our action. We say that we have right, we have freedom. But when we use our freedom, when we use our rights, we should think about the consequences of using that particular freedom, that liberty. Because we are responsible not only towards ourselves, we are responsible to others, responsible to our fellow human beings. We have to understand that our liberty or freedom exists only up to that person. That person is having a negligence or violation because of our freedom, then we don't have the right to use that freedom. That's why we are saying understanding these rights will help an individual to make decisions in a responsible, accountable way. Next, another set of questions. Just think. I want you to think about human rights. I want you to reflect on human rights. Not just simply following a resource person is saying that human rights are those and those things, human rights education is important. No, you just don't blindly follow. You just think, you just analyze, then even though you cannot answer me, just answer yourself. Okay, so these are certain statements. No, human rights education can reduce poverty. Human rights education can prevent war. Human rights education can improve our relationships, whether it is on an individual basis or community. You know, 99% of you people might be saying the answer no. I hope I'm right in my assumption. Then why I ask these questions? Because just go through these statements. If there is no human rights denial, no violation, completely no violation, why do people need to fight? And if there is completely a mood of tolerance, then where is the need of conflict? And when a nation provides all basic requirements to lead a dignified life, where is the place of poverty? But there is a big problem here. This is the ideal situation. Up to this time, we cannot say that this is the reality. This is the dream. But why I'm giving this dream to you? Because once we dream, we'll be taking some actions. I don't believe that after the end of my presentation, all those 70 or 80% here will be changing their perceptions, changing their attitudes. No, I don't believe all those things. But even if a single individual, okay, two individuals can make a small change in their attitude, they can change another person, they can change another person, something like a chain reaction, then I'll be happy for having this session with you people. I don't expect all those people here to be in those ideal situation. So tomorrow onwards they will be doing these things. No, I don't expect these things. But among the 70 or 80 people, if even a single individual can feel that spark, then I'm happy to have this. That's why I'm presenting an ideal situation here. Then what about human rights education? Human rights education has been defined by UN or other or different authors and activities in different ways, different definitions. But before going to definition and all things, I would like to highlight the essence of that noble concept. Any kind of education which prepares a person, adult or a student, for right kind of sensitivity, a desirable, a righteous positive action. If an education is capable of making such an individual, that education can be called a human rights education. It does not mean that we have to give knowledge, then only human rights education. We have to impart certain skills, then only.
Ranjini, hello.
Yes.
Shall I tell you something, please? There is an audio disturbance when you are speaking. Are you using a headphone, Ranjini, Doctor Ma'am?
No. I'm not using headphone.
Directly, you are talking to a laptop.
Yes.
Okay. Then
Do I
carry
have
on.
to use headphone?
Hello. I think if you can use
headphone?
if you use a headphone, that disturbance can be removed, I think.
Okay. Let me connect the headphone. One minute.
Please do connect. Maybe the other gadget, Ranjini teacher. Maybe
Yes.
the other gadget. You told us that you have two gadgets. Maybe the other gadget is beside this one.
No, that's my mobile phone.
So please switch off or aeroplane, put mobile phone in aeroplane mode. Then the disturbance will be over, I think.
Okay, let me.
The two systems together, there would be electronic conflict. That's what I feel. Now there is no disturbance, ma'am. Hello. No need of headphone. You just switch off the other mobile phone. That's enough. And talk to the laptop only, please. Meanwhile, dear friends, you can share the poster and the link to your friends and colleagues. Let them also join and benefit.
Hello.
Dr. Ranjini, now it's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Okay, I have stopped sharing. Let me restart. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So we were talking about human rights education, like a particular kind of education which prepare a person for the right kind of sensitivity, because that particular kind of sensitivity will be an education which not only provides an awareness or understanding about one's own rights, but it includes self-esteem, recognition of my place in society, recognition of other person's place in society. So automatically, spontaneously, it will be following like those qualities like tolerance, no prejudice, accountability. And so any kind of education which can create, which can mold an individual in this manner can be termed as human rights education. So this is actually the definition given by UN. It's not necessary that we should by heart or we should know the definition. Just understand the important highlighting points regarding that definition. It is the training, dissemination, and information efforts aimed at the building of universal culture of human rights through imparting of knowledge, skills, and molding of attitudes. So what is important here? What is important here is building of a universal culture of human rights. It's not for any other purpose, because when it becomes a culture, it becomes a part of life. It becomes the way of life. That's the culture of human rights. So that we could transfer from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. So it becomes a culture. So what we intend to do is not to have a knowledge about human rights, not only having knowledge about skills, about attitudes, values, or constitutional rights, or articles, declarations, nothing. What we intend is actually developing a universal culture of human. The final result that we expect is that culture. But in order to reach that long-term goal, we have to be clear about certain things. These are the three important things. Knowledge. Sure, definitely we should have some kind of knowledge. Knowledge doesn't mean we should have knowledge about all those existing things regarding knowledge. Just understand what are the major documents existing. What are those rights explained by those documents? And to understand that the articles or the rights explained in those documents, these are all applicable to all human beings. Why do I say they are inalienable? Do you know why inalienable? Because until the day you cease to be human being, there are human rights. Nobody can separate you from your rights. That's why we use the term inalienable. Then definitely we should understand the consequences of violating human. If a person is violating a particular right of another person, what will be the consequence? These are the general understanding about the knowledge aspect. Then attitude. Please don't misunderstand that only these 5 things represents attitude. No, it's just sample items in order to clear my point of view. The first thing, the attitude means, the positive or negative, a mental set towards something. So there should be a respect. That should be our first attitude. Then give more importance to cooperation among individuals, among societies, among countries. Then empathize with others. In most of the cases, we'll be saying a particular statement, everything is wrong, everybody is doing wrong. I'm a single person, what can I do? But it's no. They should understand that even if the single person, if we try to improve, we can make it right. Whether success or failure is another thing, but we have to try to improve. And definitely, the attitude of accountability or responsibility of one's own action. These are all sample in the things. There can be a lot of things that we can be listed under this category attitude. Then skill. I think everybody here is aware of Bloom's taxonomy, because all persons belong to field of education. So there you are learned about psychomotor domain skills. We are doing something, experimenting, we are drawing, all those. So here also skill represents something related to action. Before taking action, we have to make decisions. So making a rational evaluation, and based on that rational evaluation, we are making decisions. So definitely a skill. Then the ability to work cooperatively is another skill. If you are ready to work, that becomes our attitude. Once we show that ability, it becomes our skill. Then communication skill. We have to communicate with others so that we could defend or protect the rights. Then not only the ability to promote one's own rights, but those of other people. So these 3 are, we can represent just like that. This represents an interrelationship between only knowledge, there is no existence. Only attitude, no existence. Only skill, no existence. These 3 are a comprehensive sum. The relationship means they are interrelated. There is no existence for a single entity here. That's why I use this particular picture. Then there's also another fallacy regarding human rights education, that it is something to be learned in school. You might have already known that human rights education concepts and theory syllabus, all those things are included in our BI syllabus, in our MH syllabus, as a subject, as a topic, as a paper. But human rights education is not just something to be learned. Can be learned in school. That's another scenario, but it is not just something to be learned. It includes what we experience. That experience may come from our home or our society, our community, our friends, our peers, our relatives, maybe our neighbors. So it's not just something. So when we think about human rights education, there are maybe 2 goals. This goal is called education about human rights. No? Second thing is education for human rights. Education about human rights, the same literal meaning. We are going to have an education, or we are going to educate ourselves about human rights. All those information regarding human rights, knowledge regarding human rights, and understanding about human rights. Then there's a slight difference when we come to the second portion. Education for human rights. Education for means We are educating ourselves for human rights. Why? Because that kind of education help people feel the importance of human rights. The internalize the very essence, the values and emotions and feelings associated with the human rights, and we can integrate them into our life. So here also, in order to have a goal such as education for human rights, we should definitely need education about human rights. These are also connected. Then a very complicated question, is human rights education not a school subject? Because already we have introduced human rights elements, concept theories, or all the constitutional rights, similar things in our school curriculum, our higher education curriculum. So, introducing human rights, what's the purpose of introducing human rights? Is it to talk about human rights? Or like we are teaching physics, we are teaching chemistry, we are teaching zoology, social science, maths, English, we'll be teaching human rights. Then we'll be attending an examination. Now, what is meant by human rights? 2-mark question. What are the characteristics of human rights? Another 5-mark question. And they'll be getting 45 out of 50. Do you think they are actually aware of those rights? Do you think they're actually aware about the actual essence, actual vision behind this noble concept? My answer is a big, bold no, an underlined bold no. Because introduction of human rights was actually intended to change the attitude and values of children, not to make them consider it a subject getting full marks. If we are communicating human rights in a similar way like other subjects, we can communicate, content can be transacted. There's no doubt. If the teacher is an an efficient person, our teacher is effective in his classroom transaction, the content will be transacted. But what we need is to change their attitude. And attitude and values, it represents our affective domain related to your emotions and feelings. So what we need is an individual interaction, participation, a complete participation from the part of all those students in the classroom. There is no significance in simply transacting information, because what we need is to create an inspiration, create a commitment from the part of teacher and learner. So never should we treat human rights education as a simple school subject, a simple paper, or a simple unit of classroom transaction. There's another question. You might be thinking that this resource person is asking too much questions, but I like to ask questions so that you can think, because I want you to think. Do you agree if I say that human rights education can be started from first standard? I don't know you agree or not, because the first response will be something like this. Oh, how is it possible to talk about liberty, justice, discrimination, those noble concepts to a first standard student? Don't have any that kind of misunderstanding. Please don't have. Because human rights education, we have already mentioned that it's creating a right kind of person, a person who is able to show positive actions in a situation, desirable actions in a situation. In order to mold that person, it is not important, or it is not essential or to always start from the theoretical aspects of human rights. Hope you know all, these two pictures. This represents two stories for our kids. The most dream princess, Cinderella, and the ugly duckling who has been humiliated by his fellows, siblings for being different. And Cinderella story, fairy tale, Cinderella has been humiliated, tortured by stepsisters and stepmother. We'll be telling stories using picture books. Okay. So while using these pictures, stories, and movies, all these things can be used to create or used to mold their attitude towards human. It does not mean that I'm going to say Cinderella story. I'm going to talk about story of Cinderella. At the end, I'll be saying human rights of Cinderella has been violated, or different rights have been violated by stepmother and stepsister. Do you think like that? No, absolutely not. What is the essence there? There is certain feelings associated with it. Being compassionate or being kind, or it is not the right way to discriminate you, a discriminator person, to torture a person. It is not a good practice to hurt an individual. Whatever may be the reason, it is not a good way to discriminate others based on certain the so-called societal norms. So all these things can be inculcated in an indirect way. It's a part of human rights education. So majority think that if human rights education is to be introduced, we should start from what is meant by human rights. What are the characteristics? How human rights are classified? What are the important documents? How National Human Rights Commission was? No. There are other things which can be added, which can be used to develop the essence of human rights. The visualization of that noble concept is there. So all these kinds can be used even in KG, even in first standard or second standard. But when it comes to secondary stage, that means secondary level education, we don't need to depend on these fairy tales and stories. They are more serious, more knowledgeable persons, more matured persons with having a full developed intellectual ability. So another attitude can be used. They can be, those children can be stimulated to think, to reason, to judge, to critique. No? Newspaper articles can be used. Real life experience can be used. Use participatory methodologies. No, chalk and talk method is not that much successful because this is something associated with our life, something which should become a way of life for us. So teachers need to find openings. Many teachers may feel that, oh, it's very difficult to cover syllabus before examination. Oh, when will I get some time for these things? That's an old saying. No, when there is will, there's a way. So if the teacher is determined that I'm responsible towards my children, I'm responsible towards my community, I'm responsible towards the world. So just take 10 minutes, 5 minutes in your class to discuss these things. You don't have to say that based on this particular article, the human rights violated is this and this. There is no need of artificiality. Just make them understand things in an informal way. There are certain principles that we should consider. This is not to write examination like principles of human rights education for 5 marks. No. The thing that I intend to say is that we should have an open-minded examination of issues. That means an issue, when we are going to discuss that issue, don't think from our personal point of view. Maybe a particular issue happened in a particular caste. So if I am belonging to that caste, don't think from the point of view of that particular caste. So give an objective vision, give an objective treatment. Then only your children can be able to follow you. Then the second point is most significant because whenever we think about human rights, whenever we talk about human rights, every person, 95% for cases, they'll be concentrating on human rights violations. I'm not saying that there are no violations. There are maybe 65, 75, 80% cases, but still too much focus on human rights abuses and violations will definitely lead to a negative impact. So human rights abuses can be treated, discussed, but only giving a heavy importance is to be avoided. And as we already mentioned, that belief that even if I'm a single individual, I can make a difference in our society. That feeling is to be in their mind while discussing these things. Then there is no need of lecturing actually. Because using lecturing, our attitudes, our values, if they can be changed, it's a big doubtful question. Maybe a very effective person who using all kind of lecturing tips may be able to create, but still, this is something related with the life, so be with the life. Then the whole environment, class, school, the school should respect human rights. They should demonstrate a respect. They're talking about human rights, how to respect others, how to tolerate others inside the classroom. But when if the child comes back from the classroom to the whole school, if he or she is believing that our school is not doing these things, they are not being tolerant, they are not doing any justice, they are being they are showing the discrimination. So there will be double negative in that there. So total environment should be like that. Then it is not good to connect human rights to abstract concept. Whenever we say human rights, so according to the articles, and so this is like that. No, but use real life situations, some experiences. I'm not saying that this is all very easy for doing. It is very easy for the teacher. It is very easy for the, no, it's actually difficult. What we need is the feeling of that responsibility in ourselves. Whether we are a student, whether we are a teacher, we are accountable. No, we belong to a particular community or society or country, or we are global citizens. So we have to contribute. The society is giving a lot of things to us, so we have to give them back. So that one thing will inspire us to do these things. Not think like that, I have to learn the subjects, I have to go to tuition classes, I have to do homework. So it's not possible. It is possible. Just your will is the only thing. Then about the methodological aspect, I was talking about the participatory methodology. The participatory methodology is very simple. All participants should be very active participants. There's no passive listening. They have to think, they have to reflect, they have to criticize. All things can be done in a participatory methodology. To make my point more clear, I'll give you a certain example. This are just some examples only. As teachers, as students, as teacher educators, you can create your own examples. Brainstorming is one of the very famous technique used in our classrooms. So you can use brainstorming while teaching human rights. When I say while teaching human rights, that does not mean there's a period for human rights. Then 10:30 to 11:30, human rights. No, it is to be integrated in your curriculum. We can introduce a question or problem, participants responding, then we will be prioritizing their ideas. Just give an example. I'm asking my students, what comes into your mind? I'm going to say a word. Whatever comes into your mind, you have to respond spontaneously. Digital divide. Digital divide is very common, very famous, very relevant due to this COVID-19 pandemic situation. So they will be talking and talking and talking. And the teacher can finally connect with the digital divide about something related to the values or attitudes related to human rights. No, there's haves and have-nots. Persons belonging to urban area, persons belong to rural area. So it's a kind of discrimination. Whether it is actually discrimination or not, we have to think. So this kind of things can be used for making them aware about that is human rights. Then debates can be used. Maybe a 10 minutes debate, or if there is a free period, we can use another session for debate. No, everybody know debate. There will be someone speaking against, someone will be for. So for and against arguments will be there. So I have an idea. I have to talk about the Convention on Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. So I selected the topic. Is there a need of separate convention? Because there is convention for general conventions are there, whether it's a man or a woman or a child. There's general convention. Then why do we need? There is no convention like Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against men. So it's a topic of debate. We can connect with them. No, field trips. During this period, we are solely, excuse me. We are solely depending on virtual field trips. Though, if we want to create those feelings and emotions, attitudes and values, maybe take them to places where they can connect to human rights. Prisons, hospitals, women's shelter. But still, you may feel that it's not possible, but it's not impossible. But it's something difficult. We have to do it, but still, because who are responsible, we are responsible. Then case studies can be used. Real case, if we want their name and place to be anonymous, we can use fictional cases. This is a fictional case. The parents of a girl child, 15 years old, she was studying in 10th standard. Then parents decided to conduct marriage because her grandfather wants to see her marriage before his death. When I introduced this case to a 15-year group, a group studying in 10th standard or +1, and I'm asking, just express what do you feel if you were in her position. That's a big question. If you were in her position, they will be expressing, they will be understanding. This is actually not a deliberate process, it's something spontaneous. Then we know our children are very much invested, different types of talents. Some they sing, some dance, drawing, painting, drama, stories. We can use all creative expressions. So I'm placing this picture before them. This is the concept of child marriage. There is a law against child marriage, but still, in many states, the most rural areas, still it exists. So I'm asking, just what do you feel? Just express it. We can't use a single day. Just give a small kind of things to express themselves. Dramas can be. People now students or I think even our generation were interested in Damsharat will be using those film names and acting out. So all these can be used in connecting these things, how to express using or kind of related poems. They can collect stories, they can role play what they feel. So the most important thing is, once we go through our secondary school curriculum, we will find that almost every subject in the curriculum has something to contribute. If you take physics, when I am talking about Galileo, what happened to Galileo? Science students are very much aware. When I am talking about nuclear radiation hazards are there. When I'm talking about zoology, when I'm talking about embryos, organ donation, in the name of organ donation, there are things are happening. So all these things can be connected. Whatever may be the subject, even if you are an English teacher, you can use a write essay, a drama, a story to convey what you express, or what you express to convey to your students. So there is no need to say that the curriculum should be revolutionized, the curriculum should be changed. No. Using our existing curriculum, we can do all these things. Because we are actually teaching regular subjects in our classroom. So what we need as teacher is to have an additional effort, a small effort, so that we can connect to, relate what is normally taught to the ideas and problems. So even whenever there is an opening comes, whenever there is an opportunity comes, teacher can connect. because we are actually sending a message to our future generation. We care for them, we care for their rights. And the most important hope of human being, someday universal human rights may become a reality, not just a dream. Not just a dream. Because a dream becomes a goal when action is taken towards its achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ranjini Devi ma'am, for such a great and wonderful presentation. It has definitely awakened our insight regarding how important is learning through human rights. And of course, the talk was an eye opener for all of us. Now it's deliberation time. Dear participants, please share your opinions and views regarding today's topic. It's open for everyone. Thank you.
Any more people? Thank you. Dr. Ranjini, congrats and thanks for that brilliant presentation. You have
Thank you.
illuminated all of us and you have
Thank you.
strengthened our commitment towards the rights of children and human rights. Outstanding presentation. We owe you our gratitude, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm Mary from Bangalore. Your presentation is excellent. Lot to take away from the session.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so much.
I feel you are very experienced. So, lot of information. Actually, I jotted down so much information about human rights and quotations, everything. So, I learned lot. So, all the best for your next session and all the best for your life. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Hello, Yuva. There is a person, Yuva Manu Mishra. Your mobile number, please give your mobile number in the chat box, please. Now, coordinators, please check the chat box. Any more queries?
No, sir, there is no queries. Everyone is appreciating the section.
Bendik sir, Wasef sir, somebody to add something? Dr. Ranjini, I would like to congratulate you once again, and I would like to add something to what you have given. So,
Sure.
the point you have highlighted is really significant. In our hectic journey towards the completion of syllabus, human rights awareness, it doesn't get the due weight it deserves, nor the environment. Human rights awareness and environmental awareness are two things that should be given from the elementary years, from kindergarten. That passion towards human rights and towards environment, it has to be inculcated. And a class without inculcating such values to protect nature, values to protect the rights of humans, that class is incomplete. A class without such awareness is always incomplete. In our hectic schedules towards finishing everything in the correct time, we miss what is most important. Now, usually these things lie in between the lines, and the teacher has to read the lines and the teacher has to give what is in between the lines also. And the teacher has to empower the students with wings to go beyond the lines. And all those who are here, around 100 participants, 100 teachers are here, I hope. And if we 100 people come together with a burning passion towards human rights awareness, we can influence thousands and thousands of students. And I would like to request all the participants to open your video so that we can take a screenshot of the participants. If possible, kindly open your video so that we can have a beautiful pic, a green shot. Jayaraman sir, thank you sir for your presence. Thank you for the presence of everyone. Aishwarya, thank you for opening the video. I see only a handful of people opening the video. Sujit Rajan sir, thank you. Sheila Shine ma'am, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Esther Gladys ma'am, thank you ma'am. Esther Gladys teacher is a great veteran and she is an environmentalist as well. Now, thank you. I would like to take 2-3 screenshots.
Sir, I am in Mafti.
Dedik sir?
I am in Mafti. I just completed a long journey. And
No,
then
thank you, sir. So, Ranjini has given an outstanding presentation, sir.
I listened to half an hour presentation altogether.
Thank you.
And what she was mentioning about the rights of embryo, that has most probably attracted me very much because of our inborn nature of proactive life initiatives.
Thank you, sir. So, Ranjini ma'am, that
Ranjini-
area has to be taken.
Really
Carry on,
blessed
sir.
by your presence. Beyond your theoretical discourses, what actually makes us more happy is your association with us, because we consider Ranjini as one among our family. You directly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. As the teacher,
As the teacher, good evening.
teacher, to remember me.
Yeah, sure. That's why I opened it. Only now I saw it. So I just
So
clicked
many
it.
years.
Being your resource person, I just opened it. Only now I saw. That's the thing. I didn't hear you. So sorry to not to say that.
Okay. I'm happy to see you
I
after
hope
long
that,
years.
I hope that you have published your work after any publications done, Dr. Ranjini?
Yes, sir.
Based
I
on
have
your
published.
studies?
Yes.
Okay. Have you applied for the research guideship in Kerala University? Have you got it?
Yes, I have got guideship, and there are 3 students.
Oh, very good.
And
That's
the
very good.
4th one is under preparation.
Okay.
Already 3 there, 2 full-time and 1 part-time.
Okay. Very good. Which are the areas that they are seeking for?
They are one person is related to science skills, science communication, scientific temper, like the other person about disaster management.
Okay.
Okay, and another person is something like communicative competence, social intelligence, all this. The 4th person is not ready, just
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. That's very good. All the areas are very relevant and innovative to a certain extent. We spoke so much about the scientific temper, but you must give a twist in after the post-COVID situation.
Yes, sir.
The element of scientific temper may have some influence of the new normal, the definition, characteristics, and the pattern of human actions based on scientific knowledge. Everything, you will get a different kind of perspective after the COVID-19 situation.
Sure, sir.
George sir, let me share some kind of flash of idea that I collected through during my journey today afternoon during travel time. because we have completed another cycle of NAC accreditation and we have to aim for future achievements. Then incidentally, Dr. Ranjini's presentation was on human rights. So my question, the founding concern in my mind is that whether we are giving proper rights to proper human rights to the researches being done in the past years. Always we have a lot of lamentations regarding everything is being kept as a book in the shelves of different university departments and other libraries. It is not being practiced. And there is no positive actions from we people, especially those who are involved in the educational research field. We have to give certain kind of positive pathways by which we can foster the outcome of research. One suggestion that came into my mind that I'm just sharing for the consideration of all the research scholars and research guides available on the floor, particularly from Ignacia. You are marvelously doing very good activities in the form of online presentations almost all the weeks, except some significant days we may have a break, but this may be the 53rd, I think. Similarly, one idea that I want to put forward is, because immediately after Dr. Jojo's responsibility being shifted to Dr. Bindu in the next new academic year as the research coordinator, as we have already planned, that official transfer will happen, so that and at this time we have to have a little more kind of visualizations and planning to make the research wing more attractive, more meaningful and contributing to the society. In the sense that many of the researches being conducted in the past 10 to 15 years, we have direct or indirect contact with that. We know the different areas of activities that we have done in our college as well as in other departments, mainly in the Department of Education. But we have to give a particular kind of exemplary initiative, because we are having a weekly program for dissemination of knowledge of any kind, but more focused on the research findings of years. At least once in a month, we should have a particular kind of assembly, maybe 2 hours, maximum 2 hours. We can invite three PhD holders from our university or any other universities across the world. So something like that, I visualize that idea is to be research allowed. You might have heard about one of the speak aloud as a tactics or strategy to be planned in a constructivist classroom. Speak aloud, similar to that of a research aloud activity, in which maximum 2 hours. We should not need to have 250 participants every day, maybe 30 to 50. Only genuinely interested people, but we will invite 3 research candidates, not from our department or our college alone, but anyone from across the world. And the research allowed become a monthly activity. This is the proposal, not a final thing, only for your serious consideration that I am suggesting. Three people coming, giving them 20 to 25 minutes of presentation. So they will present their research in its practical form, what they have identified, discovered, outcome, and what its implications, and what are the follow-up activities they may be able to do, or whether they have done for any kind of postdoctoral attempts or any kind of further scholarship attempts, so that we can give a particular digital platform to those particular PhD holders who might have lost their enthusiasm during the course of their day-to-day activity and academic activity, and troublesome management of the so-called traditional curricula in the classroom. And then we have had a plan of having a monthly online newsletter. We spoke about 2 years back, but that was not materialized. Similar to that of the educator, similar to that of the online 2 or 3 page newsletters nowadays plenty are available in plenty online. Similar that, for example, 3 people presenting their abstract or their modified abstract in 2 to 3 pages also will be published in the form of a digital newsletter. We give that Research Aloud itself the same name for the newsletter also, so that personally I have collaborations or personal acquaintance with the European Union of Educational Research, Association of Educational Researchers in America, EIRA, and then now our Dr. Regsar has been elevated to the Vice President of the Indian Association of Educational Researchers, so that we can have online collaboration with all these people. This is going to be a revolution, so that when we go for the next level of accreditation after 4 or 5 years, we will create a little more color for the research wing. Maybe a first time attempt in the whole India. So this is my similar. This is the idea that is being flashed during 3 o'clock, between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock today evening. So I was just remembering it again and again. One such idea that has been flashed in one of our review meeting, I shared it with Dr. Joju John, but I lost that idea. Meanwhile, in our review meeting that 3-4 weeks back that we have done in our research room, maybe remembering, Joju may be remembering that. Another idea that I have presented, I am remembering the one particular idea, I just lost that connection. So I thought that today itself I will share and open this idea for everyone, so before being lost from memory. So this Research Aloud, it will give a platform, digital platform for any researcher from any university, mainly on educational field or any allied social sciences, to speak about in loud for a public what they have discovered, what are the future plans, plan of action, from which at least 10% of those particular people will get a new opening in a later stage. We may be able to combine with some of the interested people from abroad also to be part of that program. So I'm giving this as a humble proposal for little more divergent activity of the research field. Many things are possible without much financial commitment. I hope that Dr. Esther teacher also is listening, so that she also may add something to this.
Well, sir, that's a brilliant idea, sir. We'll try for that, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Shall we move towards the closing part, sir? Please.
Yes, we can.
Vote
Esther
of
teacher,
thanks. Vote of thanks, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bendik, sir, for such
I invite Ranjini to be one among the first speaker for the Research Aloud program to present your findings, and it's what level you may be able to go further with that research. Some kind of inspiration, momentum, or some kind of varied visualization of the future of the topic that we have done 4 or 5 years back.
Sure, sir. It's my pleasure. And thank you so much.
Okay, okay, we'll move on the.
I really wish MTTC to get a very good grade, sir.
Okay, good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
Thank you very much. Now, research scholars, move towards the closing part, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bendik, sir, for such a futuristic vision. We will definitely work on it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ranjini, ma'am. The best kind of giving is Thanksgiving. Now it's the time to express our gratitude. Let me invite Smriti S. Pillai, research scholar, Mathifulus Training College, for proposing vote of thanks. Over to you, Smriti.
Thank you, Sanla. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Thank you. First of all, I thank God Almighty to give me this opportunity, as gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with great happiness. First of all, I express my sincere gratitude to our principal, Dr. K.V. Benedicta, who is always the guiding power of all our endeavors. His new visions and insight made all our Monday evening fruitful and valuable. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Ranjini ma'am, Assistant Professor, NSS Training College, Pantanam, for this wonderful session, Learning Through Human Rights. It was really a wonderful and meaningful session, and we are all delighted with this session, ma'am. Once again, I thank you, ma'am, on behalf of everyone gathered here.
Thank you. Thank you for your sweet words.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me express a special thanks to our coordinator, Dr. Jojo Jones, sir, from our bottom of our heart, and also all our researchers. So, as Sam mentioned that it was maybe his last session as research coordinators, but no doubt he is always with inspiring teacher with us always. Thank you, sir, all of your support, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I propose my thanks to Dr. Ansi ma'am for all the technical support. Thank you, ma'am. I would express my sincere gratitude to all the respected teachers, research guides, and research scholars, students, teachers, and for all your presence. Thank you all. Last but not least, I also express my thanks to our secretary and Sanala ma'am, Sinimol ma'am, Tara ma'am, who also made this program a successful one. Thank you all. Wish you all a happy new year and see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti ma'am. Dear participants, please fill the feedback form. The link is shared in the chat box. E-certificate will be received in your email ID, which you have entered in the feedback form. Thank you so much for your valuable participation. Please join us on next week for another great webinar in our Insight In-Depth Invited Talk series. Thank you so much. Once again, congratulations for the great achievement, dear Joji Jones sir, and also thank you so much for being our research coordinator and leading us throughout. Our heartfelt warm wishes, sir. Dear participants, may 2022 be a great and blessed year for everyone. Happy New Year for the research. Happy New Year, all of you from the research wing of Mathifulus Training College. See you all next week. May God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you once again. Now we have come to the end of the webinar. If possible, please stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Next Monday, the date may be 3rd or 4th. 3rd, isn't it?
3rd, January 3rd, sir.
January 3rd, okay. George sir?
Hello, sir.
Shall I open the innings in 2021? Opening
Sir,
batsman?
sir, please. Please, sir. Please, sir.
I will try my best, and if
Okay,
any
sir,
other
please.
inconveniences causes, we may have to have a substitute also.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Then
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Gabriel Mar Gregorios, the Trivandrum Bishop of Orthodox Church, has agreed to give a talk in January. Hello.
Okay, sir.
So we have to invite His Excellency. He has asked me to contact again in January and remind so that a date will be fixed. And then Dr. Shyam Mohan also is ready to give a talk in January. Dr. Shyam Menon from Delhi.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I'll give the contact number of both of them to you so that you can contact and fix the date.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We'll do it. Thank you.
Okay.